Hello everyone, this is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today our guest is Mark Choinski, who had a very successful 2023. Hello Mark, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you, brother?
I'm good, thanks. Mark, let's start from beginning of your even adventure with the combat sport, because I know that you have a wrestling background, but was it wrestling the first combat sport that you ever train, or do you have any maybe more traditional combat experience?
No, for like organized sports, wrestling was like the first one that I got into. I was introduced into it. I believe it was seventh grade, so that's when I started competing and actually learning any of the sports. So it all started with wrestling.
Yes, and we can see that it's the best base for MMA fighters. So it's good that you started with that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I did that for competitively probably 12 years. So I went all the way through college with it as well. So I did it for a long time.
And when you decided to become a MMA fighter, how helpful was this kind of base for you?
Oh, super easy to transition into. It definitely helps with everything, and it's just like being able to maneuver my body and have the control. And a lot of wrestlers are pretty athletic, so it was easy to transition and as well as like learn and be able to excel at a good pace because you learn to be a good student, be able to apply the positionings, the skills. So it was super helpful.
Yes, and some fighters who came from wrestling are saying that wrestling was much tougher than MMA. So if you started with wrestling, MMA should be an easier part.
Yeah, some of those wrestling practices were definitely the hardest thing I've done for sure. You really, really can push yourself and take yourself to a pretty dark place in some of those practices.
And wrestlers usually are very mentally tough, just because kind of training that they are really hard to break.
That's probably one of my best attributes too. So when it comes to like other skills, I've never been the fastest, the strongest, you know. But when it came to being the mental side of things, my mental fortitude and mental strength, that's something that I've always excelled in amongst a lot of the people I've been around, and being able to test myself in some of those. So I take a lot of pride in that.
And what is the main gym that right now you are training in?
So I train in Milwaukee here. It's Roufusport, the HQ. Yeah, we have some awesome talent there, and just like the overall, um, the vibe, the coaches, everything we got here is perfect, man. We're doing a lot of big things, and they've been able to really push me and get me right and ready for the highest level of mixed martial arts.
And it is like one of the best gyms for more than a decade. So I think that it's like perfect environment to grow in probably every single area.
We have really committed people, committed athletes, committed coaches. So it definitely we have all the necessary tools to be able to go as far as we want.
And who is your like regular sparring partner?
So it's different all the time, right? Because people always have fights coming up. People are traveling and stuff like that. But I get to go with everybody. I don't necessarily just try to go with one person. I want to get as many looks as possible. Um, so especially when it comes to like sparring and just training, I'll spar with the 25 pounders, and then I'll spar with the heavyweights. We're able to get all these different looks in and um, not get too used to each other's game plan. You know what I mean? Because when you're with someone consistently, I think it starts to limit what you do, because you start to figure out people's rhythms and some of their setups and stuff. So I try to mix it up pretty regularly, but we got some pretty big name people that we get to go with. So I love anytime I can get in with Sergio, Christian, Rodriguez, any of those guys. So I try to get my reps in with them guys as much as I can. But I definitely don't I'm not super picky. I'll go with someone that's, relatively, new in their amateur career, but we're all pretty close with each other, and we're all definitely willing to help each other out. So I think I get a lot out of, regardless of who I'm going with, I get a lot of good looks from everybody.
Yes, and in this kind of big gym, probably there are fighters who are really unknown or with O&O record, and they are like killers.
Yeah, no, we got some kids that are young, and it's just like some of these kids, and they're so committed. I mean, they're young adults, but 18 years old, and even the young kids that are, under 18, some of these 16, 15-year olds, they're beasts, man. They're coming up through it, and they know all the skills. It's not just like, 10 years ago where everything is just a singular discipline. These guys are starting out MMA, and that's all they do. So they're good in all areas.
And overall, I'm a very big fan of Anthony Pettis. And do you have like any favorite moment of his career?
Um, I mean, he has so many highlights, right? If you're gonna watch a fight with Anthony Pettis, you're gonna see something, crazy. He's so athletic. And the one thing that kind of separates him from that as well is that he's willing to try things, and he knows how to, move his body around and be able to manipulate the way people move. So, I wouldn't say I have a particular moment, but I have some fights that I love, watching of his, and studying some of the cool stuff, because getting to work with Duke, you see where a lot of this stuff is inspired from. Like Duke is the man. He really doesn't limit us on what we can, what we do out there. He always tries to inspire us to be creative, have fun. Let those juices go. Let everything flow. So he's a man with that.
Yes, he's a legend, and he's trying like he tried fight for three different weight classes in the UFC. Then it was PFL, boxing fight with Roy Jones Jr. Right now is karate combat. So he's like trying many like cool new things.
Yeah, he's willing to step into different worlds and realms, right? He's not limiting himself on anything he can do. So my hat's off to him. He's a killer, man. He's awesome to be around. So he's actually I'm one of the guys under his management. So he's been helping guide me and make sure I'm doing the things that I need to do, and getting ready to get me to the big show as well.
And you made your pro debut in a show in Bali, so it
Yeah.
was a kind of interesting thing. So why Bali? What was the reason behind it?
Yeah, so that kind of just happened, right? I went out there to work with an athlete, just to do like some wrestling stuff, and just like, be a body out there. And because I had a buddy, Ian Larios, he invited me out there. He told me to come out here and come work with these guys. So I went out there. It was a cool place, and I was already trying to get fights in the States here, and couple of them fell through, and then I was having issues because I only had a couple amateur fights. There's rules in the United States where, at least in my state, you have to have at least 5 fights before you can go professional. And I didn't want to keep just messing around on the amateur league anymore. I already had 2 fights, and I was looking to go to the professional scene and actually start building my career up. And when I was out there, they offered me a fight, and I was like, yeah, I can't turn it down. I'm already out here. So I was able to get put on an awesome card. We're in a super cool area, and I got to be the main event too. So for my first pro fight, it was an awesome experience. It was so much good experience for my first fight, and a lot of things I got to take away with that.
And it was a fight in the ring, and it's quite rare thing right now to fight in the ring.
Yeah, but it depends on where you are. Like, I always say overseas, but like in that area, it's pretty common for them guys to be fighting in boxing rings. So, I don't know. particularly why. Maybe it's just, you know, easier, more accessible for them to set up, take down, and just maybe that's what their resources are. But they'll do a lot of fights, man. And people out there, they'll just fight. They get fights all the time. So, and they're not is restrictive on a lot of like the commission and stuff like that. So, you know, that's nice for being able to just like get a call and be like, you ready to go, you know, next week or 2 weeks. So, you know, a couple of my fights have been like that, just short notice on a week notice. And that's what's good about what I do is I just stay consistent. I'm in the gym every single day. So if I do get that call, you know, I'm ready to go.
And your next fight, it was, I think, that your biggest win of your career. It was an undefeated 3-0 fighter who actually had also a very good amateur career. And you maybe not dominate him, but you show that you are better than a really good prospect. So
Yeah.
what do you think about overall about this performance?
Yeah, that fight was awesome, man. I was dealing with some stuff, you know what I mean, little nagging injuries and stuff, and then as well as having like a little cold. That you know, I feel like my cardio wasn't as good as it showed throughout the weeks of preparation and everything. You know, I felt like I could have went 5 rounds without, you know, really even having to take a deep breath. But when I got in there, man, I was huffing after that first round because me and him were going at each other. That kid was super tough and he really took a beating. So I was pretty shocked on some of the shots that he was taking and his willingness to keep pushing forward. I'm like, all right, we got to fight here. So I got to take a lot home from that fight. I learned a lot about myself and you know, about what's to come with these people, right? They're not just going to keel over and fold. And I don't really want to, you know, fight anybody that's just going to, you know, go belly up and give up right away. So it was a good fight. And I appreciate that guy being able to take you know, the fight with me because I know some people see the like wrestling credential and will avoid it. But he had some really good experience. You know, he is a wrestler as well as, you know, a high level jujitsu guy, and then just a scrapper too. So I really enjoyed that fight.
And this kind of performance probably also gave you some additional confidence that in your second fight you can beat as good fighter as he was. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that it was also good for your like mental game.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So, and that's what it's all about right now, especially on like the local scene right now, right? Because I'm not, you know, I'm not fighting on these huge promotions yet, which I think I'm right on the brink of that. But being able to find good, tough competition right now for even these beginning fights, because you need to be able to test yourself and get ready for what's to come. You know, when I'm in the UFC, uh, what level these guys are going to be at and you know how tough these fights are going to be. They're not just going to be give me fights like you see some of these guys on the scene. They're just like fighting random people that look like they're just sitting on the couch eating potato chips all day.
And after this performance, you also had two more fights. It was both wins by rear naked choke. And do you
Mhm.
have right now a contract with APFC?
I don't have a contract with them. So APFC is all connected with Anthony's. It's one of Anthony's businesses. Um, I'm one of the that's my management. So they've been able to get fights for me through them, and so I don't have any contracts with anybody in regards to being, you know, stuck in one show. I'm able to be able to, you know, take whatever opportunities that are best and what come. But these guys know what we're doing. We, you know, we've been game planning on, you know, what's to come next. So really whatever the best opportunity is and you know, whatever comes up, we're just playing it by ear and trying to make sure we're doing all the right steps.
And I think that this kind of promotion that is shown on the UFC Fight Pass, it's very good thing for like your notoriety, just to be a little bit more known. So I think that it would be good for you to fight in this organization or any other like bigger organization, regional on a regional scene. And I think that you would be ready right now to fight for the title. Either it would be a APFC or any other organization.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be honored to get a title fight for the APFC. Um, there's there's definitely no question about that. I would love to fight for that title, but ultimately my goal is to, get into the organization with the best athletes and be able to compete with the toughest, baddest dudes. So, that's what I'm really looking forward to. But I think I do have at least, one or two more fights before, I get a step through that door.
So, do you think that it would be possible for you to be in the UFC like in 2025?
If everything goes the way it's planned, I'm hoping to get into it this year coming up. So, I mean, it's December. I'm doing everything in my power that's necessary to make sure everything goes as planned. I made big goals this year. We didn't necessarily hit everything that I wrote down, but I got pretty damn close. And the universe doesn't always allow you to do the things you plan it, but I'm definitely proud of what I did this year. I stayed busy, I stayed active, found good fights, and I got 4 fights this year. My goal is to get 5 done before December was over, but I don't have anything booked now, so it's looking like I'm not going to get that 5-0, with the 5 finishes. But I'm looking forward to next year and the goals and everything that I can achieve in this next coming year. I plan to stay just as active, and I'm looking forward to keep showcasing the skills I'm developing because I'm learning and getting so much better every day. So each fight you've got to see a little more of me, a little more, and just like the progression and the comfortability of me being out there and what I can do and what I'm capable of.
If you are busy fighter and you was like in this year, you can be like 8-0 in let's say November or December, and it would be like obvious like place for you to go the UFC, or even with 2 or 3 wins, you can go to the contender series, and also it's a like good place to like show your skills because there is a Dana, there is like interests, a lot of interest around this kind of show.
100%, 100%. Like I said, I'm 1 or 2 fights away from them being able to really give me, uh, a shot at that. I'm ready to compete with these guys, though. I'm training with world champions. I'm grinding, busting my ass, and I'm doing all the things that are necessary to be able to continue to elevate my game. So, that's what I'm trying to do right now. But a big fight would be nice for this next one. We need to get the right one at the right time. So we're planning early this coming year. I'm hoping to step back in there.
And if you would go to the UFC, do you have a fighter in mind that you would like to face to challenge?
No, I don't see whatever they give me. I don't, because it's not like I have the ability to negotiate or have any leverage on what I can get. Um, I don't care who they would offer me. I would I'd be there in a heartbeat if they gave me the opportunity, whether it's short notice or they give me time to prepare for somebody. So if they gave me the opportunity, I would be there.
And if the short notice opportunity would happen in, let's say that you have 2 weeks to be 155, would you be able to make that weight?
Yeah, and that's like another thing I do. I really treat this like how, I don't know if you've been around like a lot of wrestlers. Um, we always say it's like not a sport, it's a lifestyle. So it's like the same thing with this is like I live this lifestyle. I'm constantly everything I do is in regards to that, right? I don't balloon up and I really don't cut much weight. I'm I believe I'm pretty strong for, what I walk around at. Very I'm quick. I got everything that's necessary to be able to compete with these guys. I'm not trying to be a weight bully. I'm not cutting 30 pounds. So if they called me and said that I need to make 155 in 2, 3 days, I can make that weight comfortably and not be killing myself for that. So I make sure I don't balloon up and You see these guys after they make weight or after the fight, they go out and they freaking are just stuffing their faces, partying, doing all this stuff, and then having all these negative effects, and then they're like, oh, the training camp starts now. I'm not a training camp fighter. I'm a everyday fighter.
Yes, I think that it's great. Also, of course, for your health, because the sport is one thing, but also like your body, that probably you have a longer career because of that, because you are not cutting this kind of crazy like 30 pounds or something around this. So I think that it's big advantage of you.
100%, because I train with people that, well, even when I was in Bali, I had training partners out there where they were 1 or 2 weight classes below me, and we were walking around the same weight. And it's just like, man, you're in for it. They have to start cutting weight 2, 3, 4 weeks out. And, instead of worrying about preparation, about, their skills and, their plan for what they're going to do, their day is just revolved around, calories, fats, carbs, like everything in nutrition. And it's like they're spending all their energy and time and, focus on being able to try to cut all this crazy amount of weight. When, for someone like me, well, you're doing that. I'm over here trying to master my skill and get ready for what I'm, going to do when I step in there.
Yes, and sometimes the weight cut is just the worst thing that is in the MMA career. So if you get rid of it, you are like probably much more happier, and like you said, you can be like focused on developing your skills, not to do some other part.
Yeah, 100%. It's demoralizing. Absolutely. And from all my wrestling, I did the massive weight cuts. I would cut 20, 25 pounds in, a couple days to make weight and then have to wrestle 4 or 5 matches. And so I know what that's all about. I did that through my whole career. And then, I saw the negative effects it was having, and then the injuries, and then just the what it does to your mind as well. Just end up hating the entire process. So, by the time I was done wrestling, I said, screw it. I'm going to compete with what I weigh, regardless of how big these people are. I'll just walk in and show up at my weight and, enjoy the process. And next thing you know, I ended up being the best version of myself by doing that. So I kind of worked through those little things through, all my years competing in wrestling. And I'm trying to take a lot of those lessons into mixed martial arts.
And how do you deal with this stress before your fights?
I just know, like, I accept it, right? I know it's natural. Um, I accept those feelings that you get. I expect, there to be nervous if you're a little bit too calm and you don't have those nerves. I feel like that would make me more uncomfortable. So I think about it as like your car starting, right? The engine should have a little sound to it, right? So I don't get too crazy, and I don't overthink it. Whatever thoughts come, they come, and I let them pass. But I'm pretty confident, and I know once I start moving and once I get to go in there and stand and stare at somebody in the eyes and get to, throw these fists, that none of that stuff matters anymore. So I don't beat myself up before I walk in there.
Yes, it's probably very important, just not to overthinking things, because you can be lost in your mind, and you are not able to do anything about it. Even if you want to stop, you can. So I think that it's very good that this is not a problem.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing that's like, that's a part of my training too. So I do things to make myself uncomfortable constantly. And then I go and work through that. So I find little things throughout the day, whether it's training or just like everyday things. I'll kind of push myself into these situations where I'm getting experience and being able to operate in tough conditions. So that's a part of my training as well, that I think some people neglect. And then come fight night, they're beating themselves up before they even get a chance to go and step out there and do their thing.
Also, I have a few questions outside of fighting. If you have some free time, what do you like to do? Do you have any additional except MMA like hobbies or passions?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot of things that I would do, but for this, I would say this last year, I've pretty much solely put all my time and effort into this because I know what demands this sport has, and I know where I want to go and know what I want to do. So, I'm not doing a lot of things that are gonna stray me off this path. I feel like I have a clear vision and I want to continue to go down that. So, for this last year, man, I've been so locked in, so focused. Really haven't done anything in regards to if it's not pushing me, if it's not helping me get to where I'm trying to go with mixed martial arts, then it has no place in my life right now. So this is, and the thing with this too is I do enjoy the process of all this. It's not only like, a career for me, it's a hobby as well. I love, I'm excited to go to the gym. It's not like I'm really struggling to get in there. I'm struggling to have excitement, and so it's not a problem for me, but everything revolves around it right now. I know I got to give 100% because if you half-ass this, it is you're gonna have a rude awakening.
And there are people who like are excited about result, but they don't like the process, and the process is almost a whole thing. So if they don't like the process, the whole thing is much harder to get to your like ultimate goal.
100%. Yeah, everything will fall apart. It's crazy because with fighting too, it's you only get 15 minutes, right? Unless you're fighting for a title, you get 25 minutes to go out there and showcase your abilities. In how I look at it, when I go out there, I know I'm always going to be able to compete at a high level, but the thing is too, you'll never get to really showcase, all of your skills, how good you are and how well you are. You can have a bad night and, it's not okay. I can't do it tonight. You're going to have to step out there. So, what I'm doing in the gym is way more than what I'll do in a fight, right? You only get to see a small percentage of my abilities in that cage compared to what I get to do at practice. So and that's where I find so much excitement too, like for me, I love it. So if it doesn't involve MMA right now, then it doesn't have anything to do with my life.
And what is one thing that you couldn't right now live without?
Um, in regards to just this, I would if I couldn't train, I mean that would be the worst thing possible for me. Being able to train, go in and learn. So I'm really obsessed with getting better. And it's not that I want to learn a million new things. I just want to continuously sharpen my tools. That's what brings me the most excitement and the most fulfillment and joy.
And for now, what is your like biggest fear?
My biggest fear, you know what? I don't focus on that a lot. I don't really allow myself to feed in to those kind of things. Um, I'm I'm very I don't know the word for it right now. It's not. Um, I'm very positive in regards to that. I don't let allow myself to feed in to those negative thoughts and the things that could go wrong. I'd rather just think about all the great things that could happen. So I don't beat myself up about, you know, uh, this might happen or that could happen because, again, that's just going to limit the things that I'm trying to do and make me hesitant. So I try not to add anything to that. So for fears, I don't give it too much thought. I'd rather when it comes up and I'm facing it, I'll deal with it when it comes.
And one last question. Uh, if you have like unlimited amount of money and you can start any kind of business, but you have money, so you are, let's say, secure. What kind of business would you like to create?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I've always thought about it even since I was in high school. What I would love to do is open up a facility for a lot of the youth, and just give them a place to be able to go without having to pay any money. A facility that has peers and people that could, be able to demonstrate them what it means to be, a good person, and give them a better path than what some of these kids get, because I was one of those lost kids out there, very poor kid with no money and no direction. So I'd love to open a facility, especially in regards to being able, uh in sports. Like for me, would I would love to open up a wrestling facility where these kids can come in, get off the streets, stay out of trouble, build a bond with each other, and give them a direction, and let them know that um, there's ways out of the situations that they're in. So I always think about that being able to do, because a lot of the stuff we have now is all about money. And for me, I never thought I could be in a lot of these things because I didn't have the funds, or even the anybody really to push me into like being able to speak up and try to go and get involved in anything. So if I could open up something for free, where if I had unlimited money, that's what I would do, a facility to help the youth. um, that would be awesome, and I think it would help out a lot of problems that we're having, at least in my city.
Yes, and I think that this is a very cool concept of because of your wrestling background, because of your positive attitude. So I think that it's really cool thing to, let's say, to choose from other businesses.
100%, 100%. And there'd just be a lot of things I think you could do with that as well. So I've played around with that idea for a long time now, and eventually I would love to do something like that.
Okay, Mark. So many thanks for the conversation. I hope that we can see you in the cage soon, either in PF and in APFC or any other good regional promotion, and that maybe in let's say the next few months you will be either in the champion of one of this organization, or you will be close to being signed to the UFC.
Absolutely.